File number 1975031. File name Sanxingdui Incident Report. It is known that the Sanxingdui ruins undoubtedly belong to an alien civilization. Its origin can be traced back to the sun. Inside the ruins, no trace of biological activity was found. However, there are extremely strong consciousness fluctuations. After in-depth and meticulous investigation, there are a large number of bronze masks and a dazzling golden mask. These masks act as a key bridge for the civilization to communicate, and communication, all the information of the Sunday civilization, can be conveyed through consciousness. As the investigation continues to deepen, we also surprisingly found that these masks are the consciousness of the alien civilization, spatial space for them to inhabit. The relevant research clearly shows that after the civilization's body was disintegrated, it can restore its body with some special means. Because of this civilization embarked on a long dormant journey, waiting quietly for the arrival of reinforcements from the sun, hoping to reshape their bodies and achieve the ultimate goal of resurrection. Next is a detailed report made by 749 on this event. The thrill of the Sanxingdui ruins greatly filled the gap in our history. However, with the continuous and uninterrupted progress of the excavation, the unearthed items became increasingly bizarre. Initially, the emergence of the Sanxingdui site was purely accidental. A farmer was digging a ditch, accidentally discovered a pit of jade utensils. Then, experts, they began a symbolic excavation, but due to the war at that time, and many other complex reasons, a comprehensive and systematic excavation could not be carried out. Recently, the Superior organized another large-scale excavation, which led to a series of mysterious events. Quite a few archaeologists claimed that during the excavation process, would suddenly fall into a strange state similar to semi-hypnosis. Describing this state as a wandering of consciousness might be more accurate and appropriate. It seems that they can see many strange scenes, which do not exist in the real world. What these archaeologists saw are actually the same humanoid creature, whose body and posture are no different from normal humans, but with huge bronze masks on their faces, making it impossible to see their faces, making them look particularly eerie and mysterious. At first, people didn't pay much attention to it. As the excavation continued, a large number of cultural relics emerged from the ground, including a large number of bronze masks. These bronze masks are exactly the same as those are exactly the same. With an archaeologist revealed the truth, everyone realized it. They deeply realized the seriousness of the problem. If only one person saw it, it could be explained by coincidence. But now everyone has witnessed it. It was definitely not a simple matter. Although everyone vaguely sensed something was wrong, they didn't think deeply about the seriousness of it, and they had no idea of stopping the excavation. It is because the cultural relics unearthed here are too precious. Many of them were seeing for the first time in their lives, and what they saw were just fantasies. They were not harmed in any substantial way. The excavation is still going on in an orderly manner. The unearthed things are increasingly incredible and confusing. The first thing that caught their eyes was a bronze tree. Its size is extremely large, with a total height of over 3 meters. During the archaeological process, the staff believed that it should belong to the ruins of the Shang dynasty. As for some items unearthed later, they couldn't understand them in a short time. Could it be that in the distant Shang dynasty already existed? The depth of the first-level excavation kept increasing. An unexpected situation occurred. Many archaeologists fell into a semi-conscious state. However, this time they never woke up again. One by one they fell to the ground, and their lives came to an abrupt end. What is creepy is that their faces were not distorted or deformed, but instead presented a very peaceful and serene state, so the archaeologists quickly reported it. The police who rushed to handle the incident also encountered incredible strange things. When they stepped into the crime scene, they suddenly saw a huge bronze statue in their minds, and the head of the statue was wearing a golden mask. Just as the police were full of doubts and confused, a voice suddenly came from under the golden mask, saying, "Don't come any closer. This is not a place for you to set foot. Go back." This voice obviously did not come from a human. The police looked at each other and were at a loss for a moment. They couldn't help feeling nervous. Combined with the testimony of the archaeologists before, similar situations have also occurred in the ruins. The dead also showed such a state. so everyone temporarily evacuated and reported the strange event, waiting for instructions from the top. So this incident was reported layer by layer, and finally handled by the 101 team, because it involves archaeology and relics, so Captain Gu was in charge. But in the incident, there was a similar mental telepathy-like situation, so this incident, we were assigned to handle it together. After arriving near the ruins, we did not enter rashly, but temporarily stationed. First, we waited for the arrival of the other team members, and second, to see the results of this excavation. So several of us first went to check the bronze tree mentioned in the file. Once we entered the room where the bronze tree was kept, Captain Gu and I immediately recognized the tree's body, according to the Shanhai Jing Da Huang Beijing, the Rumu and Fuzang trees, which controlled the sunrise and sunset. Every morning the sunbird would depart from Fuzang and drives the sun out. When the sun is driven to the west by the Jinwu, the golden crow will perch on the Rumu. There are 10 sunbirds in total. Every day one golden crow goes to work, and the remaining 9 rest on the Rumu, and the bronze tree in front of us perfectly displays this feature. From this divine tree, we can judge that the legendary tree Rumu should be real. And we can also draw a conclusion that this relic is inextricably linked to the Rumu. It can even be judged that Rumu may be near the ruins. After checking the bronze tree, we went to check out other finds. Among them, the most important is the bronze statue and bronze mask. There are many specifications of bronze statues, but if we look at the appearance of these bronze figures, they don't seem to be in the middle of life. The 2 big hands are in a holding state. They seem to have originally held something, but now it has disappeared. And looking at the proportion of the body is relatively large, but the head is relatively small. Therefore, we can't determine for the moment whether these things depict individuals. The shape of the bronze mask is highly similar to that of our similar, but these bronze masks are not small. Seemingly do not match the heads of these bronze statues. Do not match very well. In addition to these things in other cultural relics, we also found some interesting things. But one thing is very strange. With so many cultural relics unearthed, there is not a single thing with a written nature has been found. According to general archaeological discoveries, there will be more or less writings, especially bronze wars. There will be inscriptions and other discoveries, but nothing has been found so far. It seems that this site did not use writing. We have seen most of the unearthed cultural relics. It is time to go on a field investigation. The core area of the ruins has long been closed. After we entered, we were indeed slightly shocked. The scale is really not small. The current excavation area is only a small part of the detected area. Liu took the lead again. He walked and looked, searching for something. Suddenly Liu Pengzi stopped moving, and his expression became gentle. I realized that this should be the state of mind wandering. So I immediately activated my ability, and my mental power surged out and poured into Liu's consciousness. At this time, Liu's consciousness was in a gray area. Only a bronze statue was here. Seeing me enter, the bronze statue obviously trembled, and then his closed eyes opened. The bronze statue turned its head and stared at me straight. Suddenly his words appeared in my mind. Arrogant lower-class man, today I want you to disappear. After this sentence disappeared, my head started to hurt. I realized that this was the bronze statue's attack method, so I immediately activated my ability to suppress the attack in my mind. The bronze statue was obviously stunned, and then increased the intensity of the attack. I didn't hold back anymore. I released my mental power and directly poured into the bronze statue's brain. The bronze statue's head exploded completely. This grayish consciousness also disappeared. At this time, Fatty Liu also woke up. Captain Gu and I analyzed the battle just now. We found that the things in this relic, the control of human consciousness, had entered a new realm. We continued to move deeper into the ruins. We could see the whole buildings. Suddenly, my mind tightened. There seemed to be something resonated with my mind. I immediately activated my ability. I used my ability to explore the surrounding environment. Sure enough, I found a point, which was emitting a large amount of mental power. I held the dry lacquer in front of me and walked towards that location carefully. We arrived at that location. There was nothing here. It seems that the thing should be under the soil. We didn't act rashly. We waited for a while. Seeing no abnormality, I slowly squatted down and started digging. Soon I dug up a pure gold mask. There was nothing unusual. We continued to walk deeper. We saw the remains of the archaeologists. So I arranged for several team members to transport the bodies out. Just as we were about to continue our journey, my mind suddenly tightened. A powerful mental force broke into my mind. I entered that state of consciousness again. In front of me was a tall bronze statue, but with a golden mask on his face. I looked at the bronze statue with a golden mask. I took a step forward. The statue didn't say anything and started to attack. His attack was also mental power. My brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, but I wouldn't just sit still. I immediately turned on my ability to the max. I used my mental power in my mind to fight him, and we started a tug of war. A brief balance was achieved, but to maintain this intensity, it consumed a lot of mental power. Meanwhile, blood also flowed from my nose. The guy wearing the golden mask seemed to see my embarrassment and started to laugh at me again and destroy my mentality. But I wasn't panicked. I took out the bead that stored mental power from my arms, and my mental power was quickly replenished. We were at a stalemate for a while. I could clearly feel that the guy's mental power began to weaken. Obviously, his mental power was also running out, while my mental power was still abundant. So 1 minute later, I felt the attack in my brain had disappeared. Meanwhile, the bronze statue began to crack, including the golden mask on his head began to show some cracks. Obviously, keeping this high-intensity attack for a long time caused him some degree of backlash. At this time, I did not stop my attack. I instead poured my mental power into his brain. I wanted to control him like this, to dig out information from his mind, but I didn't expect to find nothing. It seems that to obtain I could only get it from his mouth. So I walked straight forward. I suddenly used the dry paint to chop off his golden mask, revealing his true face. Unexpectedly, the bronze statue with a golden mask is not much different from the bronze statue I saw before. I just stood in front of him and looked up at him. I said, "Now you know I want you to disappear. It is just a matter of a moment. Shall we have a good talk, my dear superior?" After hearing my words, the bronze statue was silent for a while. Then his voice came into my mind. Okay, I admit, you are a terrifying guy, and I am willing to talk to you. Go ahead. What do you want to know? I thought for a moment and replied to him, "Tell me first, who exactly are you?" He began to tell me a long and tortuous story, or the process of a civilization's demise. The bronze man in front of me told me that they came from the sun, which means that the Sanxingdui ruins is actually an extraterrestrial civilization. They were silent here, imagining that one day the sun would send rescue troops who would bring them back to the sun and then reshape their bodies. However, they did not wait for the rescue from the sun. Instead, they waited for our excavation first. So the consciousness remaining in the mask attacked our archaeologists, but it attracted our special forces. But what he said next did pique my interest. "You can't go any further. That thing is not something you can touch." At this time, the people's daydreaming state had also been lifted. So I immediately reported the situation to Captain Gu. Captain Gu thought that since things had come to this, it was necessary to explore the depths of the ruins. Was very necessary. But just in case, he decided to continue exploring alone. If I don't come back after a period of time, they would leave immediately. So I set off with the golden mask. As I continued to go deeper, I felt the pressure was increasing. But strangely, why the pressure suddenly increased? Could it be that in the depths of the ruins, something extraordinary? So I asked the golden mask, was there something else in the depths of the ruins? He told me what was deeper was their shame. This really piqued my interest. What could it be that made him admit it was a shame? Since he had decided to speak, he didn't hide anything, but went straight to the point. We failed in that great battle. Our army was defeated by one enemy, and even if there was only one enemy, we couldn't completely kill him. We just did our best to seal him here. This answer is somewhat unexpected to me. You know that along the way, I have felt the strength of their civilization, but such an advanced civilization failed to defeat even one enemy, but was completely destroyed. And from Qatar's words, this terrifying enemy is not completely dead. This sentence touched my nerves even more. Such a danger must not be left. I might as well take advantage of him being sealed. I'll just end it directly. We moved forward along the ruins. I felt more pressure, and Qatar seemed a little surprised, and the seal seems to have loosened a bit. Maybe your excavation has affected him. Finally, we came to a cave space. Something was lying there, giving off a strong sense of pressure. It should be the powerful enemy. The main color of this thing is white. Its head proportion and structure are similar to humans, but behind the head, there is something similar to an antenna. But when I approached to take a closer look, the voice of Suzaku suddenly came out abruptly. It is this thing. It gave us a hard time back then. It seems that Suzaku knows it. Juku has experienced many defense wars. It is possible that Suzaku knows this monster. I am going to use my ability before he wakes up and directly blow his head off. But I remembered what Qatar said. What Qatar said? The abilities of the Sunday Star people are restrained. Only by integrating the power of the whole race can we suppress him. These abilities of the Sunday Star people are similar to mine. If I use my ability rashly at this time, if there are any unpredictable consequences, it would be a big trouble. I said Uncle Suzaku. See if there is any way to kill him. So I humbly asked Uncle Suzaku for advice. Lord Suzaku didn't hesitate. He said, Comrade Wu, just go ahead. So I took out Genchi and walked straight towards the celestial being. I raised the axe of Genchi high and slashed down hard at the heavenly immortal. However, the axe blade stopped 1 centimeter away from his neck. Stopped, which felt very strange. I didn't feel any obvious resistance, but no matter what, I couldn't make the axe move any further. I tried to attack his body and legs again, but it still had no effect. But I immediately thought of the next method. I gave control of my body to Suzaku. Although the opponent's ability is very strong, but he is currently in a weakened state. It shouldn't be able to withstand the holy fire of Suzaku. Suzaku was not ambiguous, and immediately began to brew. The hot flame came out of my mouth, and instantly wrapped around Tianxianren. And at this moment, I also noticed something unusual. I noticed that the fairy's eyelids seemed to move. No, it can't be that at this time. This thing woke up. Jukei's sacred fire is really powerful. The temperature of the entire space has risen a lot. Looking at the burning fire, I felt a little more at ease. Even if you are about to wake up, so what? You'll still be burned to death. But this time it seems to have miscalculated. The smoke from the fire began to dissipate. A human figure gradually appeared in the smoke. A ethereal voice appeared in my mind out of thin air. What a rare strong man. With your existence, I can be completely resurrected. The smoke completely dispersed. At this time the Tianxian had already stood up. But he was not unscathed. Many parts of his skin were also dyed black. It shows that the attack of Suzaku is effective. But it is still far from killing him. The heavenly immortal tried to move his body, although it was still a little stiff. But he could move freely. I instantly turned my ability to the maximum, and the spiritual power transmitted from the golden mask, and instantly poured into the antennaman's brain. However, my attack had no effect. So I took out a bronze branch from my arms, and then broke it hard. After a puff of smoke, a figure appeared in front of me. It was Zhu Yin. Zhu Yin, uncle, help, there is a monster here that looks like a noodle. Seeing Zhu Yin, I felt like seeing a relative. The monster of Yue Mian, Zhu Yin asked in surprise, and then turned his gaze to the celestial Duamu Ming ahead. This guy is still alive. Obviously Zhu Yin knew the celestial being, and seemed to know the name of the celestial being. So I asked Zhu Yin what was going on. Zhu Yin also gave me a general introduction. This celestial named Duamu Ming was the commander of the central region in that defense war. At that time Bai Hu and Kong Qi fought against Duamu Ming, but they didn't decide the winner. Later Duamu Ming disappeared from that battlefield. So the beasts thought he must have been killed, so they didn't take him seriously anymore. However, they saw him again here. Zhu Yin was also very surprised. You are really unlucky. You are really unlucky. If it were him, it is normal that you can't beat him, Zhu Yin said. As his voice fell, his body rapidly grew larger, revealing his true form. This is the first time I've seen the real body of Zhu Yin. Zhu Jin moved. The whole space trembled slightly. I saw its huge tail, and wrapped around Duamu Ming. Then it began to exert force, muscles contracting tightly. A crisp sound came. I thought to myself, Duamu Ming must have been squeezed to death. However, Zhu Jin didn't seem to relax his vigilance, but suddenly opened its mouth, and began to accumulate energy in his mouth. Then a dazzling red light spurted out from the mouth of Zhu Yin instantly, and shot straight into the distance, and directly shattered the table. A moment later, from behind the shattered platform, a figure emerged slowly. It was Duamu Ming. Who else could it be? But his current state is truly terrible, with more shocking scars on his body, and his expression was full of vicious meaning. Zhu Yin, I am not your match now, but I have my own way to kill you all. Let's go to hell together. Just then, Duamu Ming's body suddenly burst out with an extremely huge energy. Although this energy did not hit me, but the powerful impact was astonishing. I was already a little unstable. Oh no, he is going to fight to the death and intends to die with us. Zhu Yin's tone became no longer calm. Obviously, he also deeply felt the approach of danger. There is only one way now. You use your ability to break through his defensive telekinesis. I will teleport him to another space. Zhu Yin said anxiously to me. Let's disappear together. Zhu Yin looked at Duamu Ming. The energy around Zhu Yin was getting more and more surging. If this powerful energy is injected into Zhu's mind, Zhu Yin might suffer an accident. With a shout from Zhu Yin, I did not hesitate to. I immediately absorbed all the spiritual power in the bead. I unleashed the most powerful ability ever. However, this time the target was not Duamu Ming's brain, but the mind power covering his body. The powerful mental power surged out and collided fiercely with the telekinesis. Duamu Ming's mind power around him was instantly shattered. Meanwhile, my mental power was completely exhausted, and then I fell into a coma. Before I fell into a coma, my vision seemed to see a huge light burst out in front of Duamu Ming. After that, I knew nothing. When I woke up, as expected, Liu Fati had set up the hot pot, which meant that Zhu Yin finally succeeded, and he also brought me out and handed me over to Liu. Captain Gu asked me what happened next. I recounted to them all the experiences. I repeated them in detail to them. Captain Gu was very excited when he heard that, especially when he heard about those amazing technologies. His eyes were full of fanatical light. However, when I told him, there was a strange energy in the depths of the ruins, which prevented us from entering, he was so angry that he almost jumped up and down. For ordinary people, it is impossible to get close to there, let alone to dig the ruins. If we want to continue to dig this site, if we don't find a way to deal with this energy, it is impossible to continue the work. So according to our current technological level, it is undoubtedly an impossible task. As for this operation, it can be regarded as a relatively perfect end. The general situation of the Sanxingdui ruins has been basically clarified. This is a solar civilization alien from outer space, created by aliens, so it has highly developed and distinctive features. After I successfully escaped, Qatar also survived by chance. So he used his ability, warned all the Sun Star people in Sichuan not to conflict with us, although their bodies have perished, but their consciousness still exists in the bronze masks. Because of this, we cleared, transported, all cleaned up, and transported them out, and properly preserved them. In the subsequent investigation process, we also obtained a lot of information about the Sunday civilization. When Qatar led his Sunday Star team arrived on Earth, they quickly built up a relatively large force. Moreover, they did colonize and rule some local primitive people, and the Yorks, and carried out colonial rule, and implemented a strict hierarchy. Among them, the lowest level was the indigenous people on Earth. The next level is the native people of the Sun. The highest level of human beings are the nobles among the native people of the Sun, such as people like Qatar. Indigenous people on Earth need to wear bronze masks, because if they don't wear them, they cannot communicate with the Sunday people. The Sunday civilization has no written language. The reason is that a highly developed civilization does not need writing. Everything can be conveyed through consciousness. When two people stand face to face, the meaning they want to express will directly appear in the other's mind. There is no need for written records, including items can directly input spiritual energy into them. When they get the item, the relevant information will automatically appear in mind. This is also the reason why we have not found. We didn't find any written. Reason why we didn't find any writing. In addition, the bronze masks we discovered is also due to the hierarchy. The Sunday Star people thought that the appearance of people were too ugly and evil, so they must make them the great Sunday Star people. So they customized this exaggerated bronze masks, and those bronze statues without masks are ordinary Sunday Star people. They have no problem communicating normally, so they don't need props like bronze masks. The golden mask symbolizes supreme status, and this golden mask can enhance the wearer's control ability, thus enabling the wearer can more effectively control ordinary Sunstar people and Earthlings. As for those items we found in the ruins, those items that transcend time, such as the so-called steering wheel, it is actually a steering wheel, because the solar civilization is indeed much more advanced than ours. Take the car as an example, are much more advanced than those we later made. That is why the things unearthed in Sanxingdui later frightened us and made us think there might be a phenomenon of time travel. It is because there once existed a more advanced civilization. We also figured out another thing. The sun goddess in the legend of Sihu, according to our speculation at that time, Ziha represented the sun to deliver energy to the earth. So we mentioned Siha's name in front of Qatar. We mentioned Siha's name. Unexpectedly, his reaction was extremely violent. Siha is indeed a Sunday Star person. However, among the Sunday Star people, Sihe is also an extremely ancient figure. According to their local legend, Sihe is the goddess of exploration, and she is in charge of a planet in outer space. This is consistent with Shihi representing the sun, providing energy to the earth, is highly consistent. However, in the civilization of the solar system, there are also gaps. Many important histories and events have not been preserved, so Qatar is not clear about the specific matters about Shi. However, the top management reached an agreement with Qatar. We were responsible for ensuring their safety, and they would provide us with the technology he knew to promote the development of our comprehensive strength. With the continuous progress of our technology, decades later, we successfully lifted the strange fluctuations in the depths of the ruins, and then we continued the excavation work. However, the excavation at that time was already another story.